Good morning, meat suits. Welcome back to Read and Weep, a podcast about movies and friendship. This is season 5, Kevin Bacon's Exquisite Corpse, and we are just 4 characters from an unreleased upcoming franchise who are here to play a very long movie watching game with you. I am your host, Alex Falcone. I'm recording, as always, from North Koreatown in Los Angeles, and I am joined by the fullest panel we've had in a while. First up, he's at Anthony Lopez Part 2 on Twitter. He's in Southeast Portland. He used to have nothing, but then he got this job, this family, and he was better off because of it. It's Anthony Lopez.
Hey guys, it's great to be here. Sorry, just want to put it out there, we weren't able to record the audio commentary, but we will get that done this week or next, whatever it takes.
Alex is committed to watching this again, so you guys will feel good about it.
No, this is when we all say whatever it takes, one after another, to make sure
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Hold on.
Whatever it takes.
Get back what we lost, absolutely. But we have to preserve, what we've gained.
I think we could just go back in time and have recorded this. I don't know why we're messing around.
No. Look, Tilda Swinton told us we could not do that. That would mess up her time stream, dude.
Yeah.
Did you not listen?
Yeah, if we went back in time and recorded, then, we'd be in that podcast.
Wait. Well, okay, so what if we go back, we record this podcast, or we record our live stream, and then we come back to now, but then we go back and put it back, not having recorded. That takes care of it, right?
Look, I think movies have lied to you actually about how time travel works, all right?
Yeah, I think so.
All of us agree.
Especially this one.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Alex, if you could time travel, would you get baby Hitler to be a guest on your podcast?
I'd ask him some tough questions, though. Yeah. I would really give him the business. Also joining us today, he's the co-host of Old Gamers Almanac podcast. He's from the woods of Brooklyn, New York, and he doesn't judge people by their worst mistakes. It's Hunter Donaldson.
Hey, I am Chris Evans' ass. All right, I want to be. I want a face as pretty as Chris Evans' ass.
But in some sort of blue plastic costume.
Yeah.
I would actually take any superhero Chris's ass, I think.
Oh, that's true.
Any Chris,
oh.
Right? There's no
clearly we're auditioning people for this movie based on asses and being named Chris or not.
Yes, that's absolutely.
That's the first question. Is your name Chris? And if you write that your name isn't Chris,
please?
It's like negative 50 points. So listen, we're gonna have to recover.
Sorry, we've seen enough. We're going in a different direction.
Well,
we want
you have to remember the MCU has so many roles to fill, right? If they just start with get all the Chris's.
Let's every Chris.
That
Wrangle me up every single Chris in town.
This is an Oops All Chris's kind of franchise, though.
This is one of those movies where there's so many people in it that I was hurt I didn't get called. Even to
you're not in the back?
Pretty messed up.
No, you're there.
I was I don't think I'm amazed there's anyone in this town who is not in that movie. There's so many people. Also joining us from Northern California, he will shred the universe down to its last atom and then create a new one. And just don't worry about what's lost. It's only about be grateful for the new thing he's going to make. It's Ezra Fox.
Look, Alex, how can you say that I took everything from you when I don't even know you? All right.
Because my movie hasn't come out yet?
This show, you still need a show, you still need a movie. Yeah, all right.
Before we start the show, I want to thank all of our fabulous meat buddies who hold us hostage with their financial contributions, forcing us to continue making a show long after its expiration date. If you'd like to join them and keep this show prisoner on the tracks, you can go to Metreon.com. And we really appreciate everybody who supports the show. Okay, it's time for the news. Segment 1, the news. You guys like the news?
Favorite I feel like this is your week, Alex.
I will say generally,
go just how you want.
I will say generally, Anthony, you're the most displeased with the way the news segment goes. So maybe you'll like this one or not.
I don't think that's true. I usually like them.
We love the news segment.
Specifically for you, Anthony. I think Hunter a little bit, Ezra less. But a cat adopted us for about an hour this week.
What?
Who's us?
My wife and I. So I want to say this quick. I just want your opinion on this, Anthony, and what I should do. So this cat cat showed up on our door. This is big news in my life. This cat showed up on our doorstop. We have a little area. There's 2 doors on our apartments. Share this little stoop. Cat shows up and was rubbing its face against our screen door, pawing at it as if. Long lost cat, as if he'd lived here before, and it's a young cat. Clearly, we've been here longer than this cat for sure. No idea where the cat comes from, but our neighbor on the other door also thinks it's cute. Makes a little cat bed, goes out and buys a little cat food, sets it up a little tray, makes it a home, but it clearly wants to go into our apartment.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it wants, and it's this beautiful gray and white cat, really friendly. I hang out with it for a few minutes. It stays it leaves during the day, comes back in the evening. So first question is this my cat, or is this cat using me and has another home?
I mean, two sides of the same coin there, buddy, right? Isn't that kind of
really
just
have a
cats
cat?
in general? But yeah, I mean, that definitely, if you want it, that could probably become your cat.
Well, does it have a collar? Does it have a
No
collar?
collar. Might
No
have
collar.
a chip. I didn't check, but
Yeah.
no collar.
Get your chip
But
reader
no
out.
collars-
You can like take a collar off with your little paws,
I'd
right?
see if there
What-
was a chip.
One
I'd
of
see if there's
my
a chip.
favorite local cats I ever had was at my old place. We had this local black cat named Vinny who had a collar that just said friendly, not lost Vinny
Aw,
on it. And
nice.
this cat never has a cat needed that more because literally he lived in every apartment in a
Right.
building.
Yeah.
He
Right.
would just walk into the place and be like, "Hey guys, I'm just coming to hang out for a little bit."
Mhm.
And he would do it with like the entire town block.
Oh, that's
Uh,
great.
But he was that
Right.
kind of
I
cat.
mean, that's
but
the perfect amount of cat for us. Like a timeshare
Yeah.
cat would be ideal.
Yeah. Okay.
'Cause
Well,
we
you
don't
don't want a whole
I
cat
travel
anyway.
a lot. Yeah, I don't have time for a whole cat. Also, like 3/4 of the plants in my house are cat poison, and also
well, that's a problem. Yeah.
pretty
yeah, this
small
is not your
apartment. We
cat.
don't have room to like put a place
Yeah.
for this cat to poo. But like if a cat just wants to hang out on the porch and get love, like
Yeah, I think you made a cat friend.
Hey.
I don't think it's your cat.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. One, Alex. Yeah, if it's already gonna be an outdoor cat, maybe have an outdoor cat.
Right.
Maybe I'm not a fan of that idea.
generally,
All my
I think
cats
that's
are
probably
indoor
not
cats.
good. But
No,
yeah,
definitely not in
Um,
the city.
But
it's
yeah,
already outdoor cat. I didn't make it that.
yeah. I mean, it
Is
sounds
what it
like
is.
you and this neighbor, you need to just have an official conversation. Like, go up to him and
Yeah.
be like, "So,
It's a
are we
neighborhood
going
cat."
halfies on this cat? Is that
Well,
what's
our
happening
neighbor-
here?"
Our
I
neighbor
noticed you put it
clearly
out of
wants
bed
to
and
adopt
food.
him 100%, but is allergic to cats, so they can only
Wow.
have this cat outdoors as well. So it's like this: if our stoop becomes this cat's home, but I assume this cat would like to be inside, and we can't let it inside because of plants. They can't because of allergies. Like, are we going to be able to compete with the other apartments who could let it inside?
I mean, I think this is like it takes a apartment complex to raise a cat, as they always say.
It does.
So you
It-
get everyone.
as they
Everyone
always
helps.
say.
You know, it's fine. It's a collective cat parenting.
Yeah.
Okay. The other question I had for you guys. Thank you for talking to me through this cat situation. I love him
And
so
if
much.
you consider the cat is trying to get into your place because that's where the ghosts are and it's trying to help you. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
Oh.
another
and to ward off
possibility.
the
Oh, yeah, they wanna
demons
eat
that
ghosts,
haunt
Do
don't
you
you?
consider
Wait, I
that
know
this is
cats
not
will eat like
actually...
spiders and mice.
They'll eat a
and
ghost.
birds. I didn't know they also
Yeah.
ate ghosts.
Well,
Oh,
have
yeah.
you considered
Nom, nom, nom.
maybe this is not a cat, but it is indeed a trickster god? Because you always have to look for that too, right?
Right, it
could
really
be
double
the
ask.
I
Is this
can't
Loki?
believe you waited 6 minutes into
Yeah.
this news segment to bring up the fact that it's not a cat; it's a trickster god. You let me
It's
be
probably,
this
this is probably a
whole-
Loki cat.
No, I'm not saying it for sure is. I'm just saying you have to look out for that sort of thing, right?
Yeah,
Well, how do
when
I
you
treat
least
it
expect it.
differently if that's the case?
No, you have to just play it cool. Because if they know
okay.
that you
Right.
know that they know that you know that they're a trickster
transform
god,
and they
It's a
will
you're
trickster
kill you.
god, but he's not listening to this podcast,
They'll
so he
trap
doesn't
your
know.
soul. They'll trap
Watch
your
out for
soul.
that. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
okay, but so I play it cool, but do I have to do anything differently if I know there's ghosts?
Yeah, put a
Uh,
big circle of salt around you because they can't cross
Yeah.
salt.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
I would definitely invite a witch over to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just to
yeah.
take a look at the place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And witches are good like that. I mean, you live in Los Angeles too. You can find a witch.
Yeah, there's witches around.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know a few
there's
people.
Scarlet
witches.
Witch if you can.
yeah,
Scarlet
yeah,
Witch?
Scarlet Witch if you can. Just put us back
Yeah.
on topic.
Ideal. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about really quick. So last week, Anthony and I discussed a bit of the streaming update with Warner Brothers and Discovery, and I had a question again about the streaming thing, because one thing that happened also is like Netflix did had an earnings call recently where they were like, "We've lost all of the money. I don't know how it happened. Everyone in the world
Mm.
likes us, and we still managed to lose buckets of money every second."
Well,
But they
that's the thing.
they're
Does
also like-
everyone like them, or just everyone kind of be like, I mean, I guess they're Netflix. I mean,
Yeah, there
I
was a
need
lot
to
of
like
goodwill,
two
and I
things I watch,
don't
right?
hear a lot of goodwill for Netflix anymore. But
That's why Netflix is like, it's not like they're struggling. They just they just hit a wall in terms of like, there's only so many fucking people on this
We
planet.
ran out of people.
and
That's
they're
the issue.
expected to get new people every year, right?
Right.
And you can literally only do that for so long because we're fucking trying to make more people. Netflix, we
Right.
are, all right. Get off a goddamn back.
Oh,
All right?
so
but there's
Netflix is gonna
literally
get into,
only
like-
so many fucking people.
Netflix's next business model is like, hey, you guys are financially stable. Have you thought about having a kid?
I think it's
Yeah.
easier to sell Netflix though to all other versions of this universe where there isn't a Netflix yet, right? So if you can do like a cross multiverse streaming platform, I think that'll be way easier than trying to get more people.
Yes, sync it up across multiple universes.
Mhm.
Right. Because like Petflix is winning in the universe where we're all dogs.
Yeah. In the dog universe, it is Petflix. Of course it is. But it could be Netflix in the dog universe.
Well,
they
so
won't
the
like
weirdest
branding
thing,
as much.
Quite a controversial name in that universe, but it's
that universe
like,
they will not be in favor.
Right, because that's a weird
Netflix.
thing. How if we're all dogs? How are their pets, man?
Yeah,
that's a
they're
weird
not
thing.
dogs. They're people.
Well, they have human pets in dog universe.
So we're
clearly.
the dogs. But the pet dogs. That,
exactly.
God, I've been
like
trying
that
to
Sandman
escape into that
comic.
universe forever.
So it's a bunch of dogs walking around on their hind legs, and they have a television network that is just to keep their humans occupied while they go to dog work all day.
Yeah,
Which, of course, you know what they're all doing. They're all in the bomb sniffing factory.
Yep.
They're all just sniffing bombs all day, and then when
good
humans
luck
are at
being
home,
a terrorist in the dog universe.
Yeah, wait,
It's
are there dog
impossible.
terrorists?
You can't do it.
You can't smuggle drugs anywhere.
Nothing. There's no drug smuggling. They
Very
also don't
safe.
have pockets. It makes it very difficult.
It's so tough.
So
I like this
one
very
question I had,
slow.
okay, we've talked a little bit about this before, but this is what I was like. My wife and I were talking about, and I was like, I need to ask the boys. I need to find out other people's opinion that are smart about this. Okay, so one of the things Netflix said on their earnings call was that the serious, Ezra, serious question. You guys are very smart.
Ask the people who are smart about this. That's why. That's the skeptical face.
So they said one of their strategic advantages is the binge model of watching shows. Their strategic advantage is that you watch all of Stranger Things in one day and then you're done with their service for the next year and a half. And I do not understand in what multiverse, how is that an advantage? How is that a thing that's still happening? Because like if we want to watch a show that's on Hulu that we like, we have to pay for Hulu for 4 months.
Yeah.
Because the show is rolling out slowly. And it
seems a lot smarter.
If it was per second, sure, Netflix is going to get way more per second views, but that's actually worse for them because they're paying for all of that bandwidth at one time.
All right, let me put on my CMO hat. I got it.
Okay, please. Your CMO hat is just your regular hat, but you turn it to the side?
I'm a cool CMO guy.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But you just turn your chair around too, and you're sitting on it backwards?
Oh my God.
We have sunglasses indoors. You just had those on your desk as if you knew this was coming?
You summoned the CMO guy. What did you expect?
I got multiple sunglasses also
you have
as a
two
CMO.
pairs of sunglasses on your
I'm
indoor
ready.
desk. What is this for?
Wow.
You can watch the
Have you
show.
never CMO'd?
If you guys want to see Ezra's great character work, you can follow us on youtube.com/Alex Falcone to see him go full CMO'd on us.
Okay, guys. So here's the thing. This is why it's a strategic advantage, clearly. If they're binging on your show, they're not binging on something else, right? So it's like the best defense is good offense, right? So you clogged up their eyeballs real good.
That's true.
They're going to be thinking about that in their dreams because it's in their subconscious now, right? And that's extra.
True.
We call that earned impressions, basically, on their subconscious. All right.
There's regular impressions when you watch a thing. Earned impressions are when it's burned into your brain, like
Sorry,
you
burned
didn't have a
impressions. I meant
screensaver
burned
on an old
impressions. These are
monitor.
burned impressions.
We want to burn
God,
into their brain and create. It's like a psychological thing where they have to watch Netflix. I don't know. It's this new concept.
Yeah.
So if it just makes sense.
You know this, but the shadow subconscious 18 to 34 is like the most prized demographic.
Yeah.
In all of like media, right? If you can get the shadow subconscious 18 to 34, you're fucking
Huge money.
rich.
I mean, and look,
that's
rich.
what all the money is.
Do you think
if I stream something on Netflix pays for the bandwidth to stream that to me. But if I dream about Netflix, they don't have to pay anything.
That's it. Burn impressions. And also, do you think it's an accident that at Netflix we have just launched a whole very bingeable, very burned impressions-able series about a dream god, basically, right?
That's
so
true.
we are just going deep in the subconscious, which is untapped row. All right, and we don't even know how it's going to affect you when you wake up, but we're pretty sure shareholders are going to love it. So.
Okay, well that was pretty. I appreciate it. Cool CMO. Thanks for joining us to talk about this. Are there any other?
Isn't it kind of feel like with most Netflix things that they're very much like it worked 8 years ago, so we're gonna keep doing it,
right?
Like back when they were fresh.
You pulled away from your microphone, but I think I heard what you said.
Oh, but like Netflix in a lot of ways seems like they're very like trapped into like this is what was super successful for us 8 years ago. When like binging was like a relatively novel concept in like television space for like whole new shows to drop, I think they definitely got a lot of people watching a lot of their stuff very fast. And when you burn through one series in a day, you want to find just the next shitty series on Netflix to watch the next day, right? So like that's what they're looking for. But I've always thought, like I've said this before, the biggest problem with Netflix is like you wouldn't go to like a library that only had half finished novels everywhere. Like if every novel was only 3/4 finished, and then they said they canceled the book and they stopped making the rest of it. Like that to me has always been like the fact that everything on Netflix begins but then doesn't have an ending. So it's like I can start binging this. I can watch all of it because they stopped it 2 seasons early. But once I hit that
is that
wall,
an advantage
what do I
to them
do
or
now?
not? Now I can't tell which side you're on that. So it's bad because we know they might cancel it, or it's good because we know the whole series is already posted.
Well, no, I'm saying it's like it would be a better idea if they had more finished series and stories on their network.
Yeah,
Seasons.
You're talking more about Netflix original content and the way that they tend to greenlight everything,
right?
But they do enjoy a good cancellation.
Yeah, they love to red light it later.
Yeah,
they don't tend to believe in much, but they will give everything a shot, which I think is actually a horrible strategy.
It's a fascinatingly bad strategy. I do love it.
It's really
bad. Trying to break into the world.
This is a cool,
Everyone
cool
get the shot, but we will kill you.
Hold on one second, Hunter. We have to bring in our cool CMO to comment on this strategy.
This is a cool strategy because this is known as ABX testing, where we just let the market decide what is good and what is not good. And it's not like Anthony, to talk to your point about the library, it's more like we trick someone into going in a library and then we get them to start reading a little bit of the book. And then if they don't read it fast enough, we will light all the rest of the books on fire and they'll never get to finish it. And that's a really good thing. So it's like, if you want this, prove it to us quickly. Otherwise, boom, red lighted.
Because you know what everybody says about television? Everybody, about every good TV show, they'll say, oh man, it just gets great right away. That's the common phrase.
Yeah, everyone is always like, the first
we've
half
heard
of
it.
season 1
Every TV show just gets really, really good. You don't have to watch till season 2 or season 3. It's all the way there always.
And another thing people love saying is like, I love to watch either all of a show at once or I never come back and finish it, because that's also what Netflix seems to think. Like if you don't binge it immediately, if you take it slowly, week to week, if you want to, that is like a failure, right? I mean, that's the thing about.
Actually, that's so interesting because this is the thing for us, for me specifically, because I watch less TV than a lot of my friends. Is it takes me a long time to get through a series, and so if a series is cool on Netflix, everyone talks about it and nothing else for 3 days, and then they never talk about it again. It's old hat. They're bored if you bring it up. But if the show is dropping week by week, I have like 2 months to at least watch the first one so I can join the conversation. Like, and I keep hearing people talk about it for months, as opposed to it was like completely gone. No one is talking about Stranger Things anymore. It was like such a hot, fiery heat for one day.
Yeah.
Now, if I were to watch the new Stranger Things, everyone would be like, ugh, why are we talking about this?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing we also keep forgetting is we're thinking like Netflix is like a company that's like rationally run by humans. We have to remember that it's actually like this giant dark hallway filled with candles where a big algorithm in a computer sits and they worship it, and it randomly spits out numbers saying this is bad, this is good, and they go, yes, almighty algorithm, yes, thank you for your wise wisdom. You have shown us the truth. I mean, if you think of like Netflix decisions as like just devotees of a religion worshiping what a computer shoots out, it all makes a lot more sense. All the decisions seem a lot more rational.
That like, does help.
The computer says to cancel this. The computer says to pick up this weird Lifetime show that got canceled. Like, just insane.
That's so interesting. Okay, so we've got cool CMO, but we also have CM Occult.
Yeah,
a different character, also very interesting.
The algorithm.
Yeah,
what they need is like a gambler's intuition. That's their problem. Is a human being knows how to gamble on something, to say like, this isn't working right now, but maybe this will work. Cowboy Bebop. That's like essentially to me the textbook case of this.
TV should not be fucking run by algorithms. It should be run by a coked out of his mind lunatic. on the 16th floor of a building in Los Angeles.
Whoa, God.
The kid has vision. I love it. We're gonna get this fucking show made. That's how great TV's been made for 50 fucking years.
And it's been working. We all watch TV.
And that works every once in a while. Like in Cowboy Bebop, even though it was horrible and I did not want to watch any of it, I watched some of it, but I hated all of it. A lot of the raw material stuff there could have been good. If they had given it more time, that could have turned around into being something interesting. It's not like they had like a problem where it was like, oh, this cast is miserable and I can never imagine any of them being good under any circumstance. I mean, that was true for maybe the guy that played Vicious. But beyond that, it could have been fixed. I don't know. Yeah. Just bet on something. At least bet on something. That's their problem to me.
Sandman is kind of decent, but also not great. But I did enjoy Sandman as somebody who's like was really, really burnt by their Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop was one of my favorite things, and I thought they did a very poor job. Sandman is something I love and means even more to me than Cowboy Bebop. So I was very nervous about Sandman, and it's not an ideal adaptation, but it is actually pretty decent, and it really hits all the beats of the first two books. If you're actually looking for something to good after shitting on Netflix for 5 minutes, let me say, Sandman, kind of good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, this was very helpful. I do appreciate you guys helping me with both the cat and my Netflix problem.
Nailed it.
You guys are very smart, and it did work out. All right, let's play our game. We got a game. People are here for the game. Let's talk about this long ass movie.
By the way, Alex, just in your problems, you have a cat and Netflix. What issues do you have?
No, I have questions about my cat and my Netflix, and you are my cat Netflix friend. So you were this is the perfect panel to go through all this. All right, it's time for segment 2 of the game. As you know, we're playing a year-long movie-watching game where we each have predetermined movies, and we try to steer a Kevin Bacon style or Exquisite Corpse style Kevin Bacon-based movement through movies, one a week, and we get points when we land on the movie that we picked ahead of time. This week, we watched Avengers Left Behind, the 2019 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team, The Avengers, a direct sequel to Avengers Infinity War from 2018, and the 22nd film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This was directed by the Russo brothers, which, I don't know if this is a recent trend. Too many brothers making stuff. Go back to making stuff by yourself. Why is it all brothers now?
I mean, brothers have been making stuff since...
the Stranger Things theme without bringing in your brother to help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't even make a song.
Yeah, cut the cord, man. Go write a song by yourself. Also, this is written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, and it has an ensemble cast, as they say. Another way to say this is everybody in Hollywood got a little taste, including Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Johansson, Chris Renner, Chris Cheadle, Chris Rudd, Chris Larson, Chris Gillen, Chris Guerrera, and Benedict Cumberbatch. So many other people.
We should know we are not in it. We should. None
of us are in it.
We did not appear.
None of us are Chris's. It also.
I mean, I'm in the big montage at the end when everyone comes through. I snuck in.
Well,
I got a little
in that.
I don't know if you guys.
We're all in the big montage at the end.
We're in the movie. Cool. Also, importantly, this movie, the real star of this movie, everybody says this movie is starring Chris Diesel, who was also in Iron Giant last week. So that is why. We're watching this. We moved via Vin Diesel from Iron Giant, and by last week I mean a month ago because we had a couple episodes off. By the way,
we all got
great
snapped.
to have everybody back. Yeah. We had to go back in time to return you guys to the podcast. And anyway, we moved here. Hunter, it was your pick. It was your pick last episode. You moved us here. Why did you do it, Hunter? Why did you do it?
Wanted some points. Wanted some points. Really just wanted some points.
It's a redemption arc.
Yeah, it is. Because here's the thing. I tried to betray Ezra months ago, if you remember, and then Ezra threw us into spaghetti time.
Right. So you did betray him. You didn't just try. You successfully betrayed him, but then he ruined it. He burned it to the ground.
Timeline as a result of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spaghetti land.
Actually,
so
we got an interesting
my lesson. I'm on Team Ezra. Okay, I'm not going to try and stop Ezra from doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, he showed you it's not worth hurting him. It costs everybody too much.
We've all seen those Ezra was right bumper stickers that are very popular right now. You know, very trendy to say.
Ezra shot first. Right. I saw a lot of those. Well, thanks, Hunter. I'm glad you get some points. I hope it was worth it to you. We'll talk about the points at the end of this. But first, let me give you, if you have not seen Avengers Endgame from 2019, allow me to give you this. Instead of doing a micro summary, I'm going to do a metaphor summary for you today.
Oh, good.
This is a complete summary of how it feels for me to watch Avengers Endgame.
This is what people want.
Okay, so imagine you don't like sports. Pretty easy to imagine for all three of you.
Cool. Yeah.
Imagine you don't like sports. Okay, now you were forced, because of a podcast you started a long time ago, to watch a 3-hour-long game consisting of athletes from every other sport you don't like playing together in a new game that is a mashup of all of their games. And there are so many athletes that the first half of the game is just introducing an athlete and explaining the rules of their sport and what's different in today's sport and how this game works. That's the first half. And then one of those athletes has put on a little bit of weight, so he's not an athlete, he's just like a normal person, and the other athletes spend the first half fat shaming him for some reason. Okay, now, imagine the 2/3 of the way through that game, 1,000 new athletes are brought in, and they have games that have not even been invented yet. You've not even heard of these games, but you know, because the person in charge of sports bought all of sports, that this is going to be the only sports available for the rest. The only entertainment for the rest of your life will be these new sports that they're announcing now being forced down your throat, because monopolies are not a problem anymore. They just own all sports. And then also, a couple of athletes that other people really cared about got injured and they're never going to play again, but it's like, fine, because there's a million other athletes, so it's like it doesn't even seem sad at the time. And also 90% of this game is CGI, so it's really like watching a cartoon sport. That's
so wait, your metaphor is what if for a podcast someone made me watch the most awesome shit ever for 3 hours.
Like, you please try and dunk on the movie a little bit.
You just literally said, imagine if you had to watch the greatest athletes from every different sport ever play a brand new, exciting game you have never seen before.
And they teach it to you. You're not even like confused. You're like, that's the part I don't understand at all.
You're confusing
ass movie, Alex.
So two quick clarifications. One, the game is not exciting because the rules don't make any sense.
That's not what I heard.
And two, that most of the movie is most of the sport is explaining the rules of the game. Like that part where like a football referee gets on his PA system and explains what the rule was.
Alex,
that's most of this game.
Love it.
Don't worry. No, this movie made a lot of money. You don't have to try and talk it up. Okay.
Yeah. People have seen it already. Most people are aware of this.
Kind of be mean to it. It doesn't.
Stop selling.
You don't need to sell us on it. Like it's okay to say bad things about this movie. It's the most successful movie ever made.
Take it down a notch or two. It's fine.
Let's not be precious about it.
Yeah. Alex, I kind of think even like your sports metaphor works really well because these movies are whatever. But I can tell you this, as somebody who saw the first Iron Man on a look and saw every Marvel movie up until this point in theaters.
You've watched all 22?
I watched
them all in theaters?
Yeah. I see everything in theaters.
Yeah, I'm also at this point. Yeah.
One of Anthony's things is he sees shit.
Yeah, wow. I go and just see everything, right? Everything big, everything small. I go, especially pre-COVID, my wife and I would go to the movies multiple times a week, right?
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, I saw all of these. And let me tell you something. Just with your sports metaphor is actually really apt because however you feel about this movie, from my personal experience, seeing this movie opening night, I think it was like maybe Friday or Saturday of the opening weekend, a sold out house in one of the biggest auditoriums in this state. That sports team metaphor and the energy is like, this movie is whatever. I still think about what it was like to see this in a packed house. People losing their mind, especially like the last half hour, 45 minutes, which for you doesn't work, whatever. But even if you have like to be there and to see this happen, then it pays off like such an elaborate slot machine. And it was such an emotional roller coaster. It's honestly one of the most satisfying theatrical experiences of my entire life.
I'm with Anthony here. I'm with Anthony that this movie only really existed for that first weekend that it came out, and only because I knew people liked these movies, but I was completely caught off guard by the amount of energy in the crowd like that night. Seeing that it was so, and I don't even really know why I decided to see it. I think it was just like a knowledge that like, oh, this this movie, regardless of whether it's good or not, is going to be, quote, important, unquote. So I was like, I should probably try and go see it opening weekend. And then I did. And yeah, the energy was completely insane. And yeah, it's pretty bogus. I mean, you're basically just watching people stand in front of a green screen. And these nerds were like completely enthralled, but it was impossible not to be swept up in that with them. And there's a little part of me that's like, I feel thankful that they were able to have that level of energy about it, because I got to just I got to sit in the passenger seat with those people while they were just going buck wild in that theater. They were losing their minds.
Going from Iron Man to this, if you can say whatever you want about the MCU afterwards, but like the fact that they started with a dream with Iron Man and they got to this point, it is just from like a film production thing. There's literally never been anything like it in the history of art, really, in general.
And they didn't even learn how to make a really good movie. Like, that's, you know what I mean? That's almost more impressive. They made 22 movies that are like mostly bad. Some of them approaching, like, I can imagine this being good.
Yeah.
And yet this is the success they were able to reap from that. It's wild.
Well, so maybe that is the metaphor that I was using is the key, that like people are not invested in the plot so much as just like they like seeing their team on.
I mean, people
TV.
were really invested in the plot of this, right? The lore and how much
how you could possibly be invested
Stones.
in this plot is mind-boggling to me.
I mean,
have never
there
seen
was 22 other movies getting you to know and love these people.
That's such a giant
question of whether or not the Earth is destroyed is not very compelling to me. Like, the answer is no. We know the Earth is not destroyed.
That's not. No. That's not what people care about. It's a superhero story, Alex. So of course the good guys are going to win in the end. The question is where the drama comes from is, what is it going to cost? Our supers. What are they going to have to spend? What are they going to lose?
What is it going to cost these
this?
literal gods and invincible people?
Well, some are going to die.
How much is the mouse going to have to spend on this money or on this movie?
That's true. What is the actual money cost?
How expensive is this movie going to be? These are the dramatic questions that this movie answers.
Yeah.
I don't think I've found okay, so one of the problems for me with superheroes is when they go from, look, we've got crime in the city and we're going to fight it, to like, there is an alien being in an infinite number of universes where time travel exists, so there's no consequences to anything, and his whole motivation is, I want to kill everything for the reason it would be better.
Everything first.
I just can't. Sorry, I want to kill half of everything because I think that's a better thing. I just I can't be involved.
All
less
organizations have some mission
plot
creep. It happens to Fast and the Furious. It happens, I think, to Facebook as well, right? This is how it is.
And Alex, you gotta imagine for a second. Imagine the plight. You don't actually. I think sometimes you get kind of blinders on. You're not really able to empathize with the writers who are getting paid millions of dollars to come up with some bullshit for these gods to fight against. All right? You have to understand, Alex. You know what? If you don't like Thanos, you give me a better fucking thing for these assholes to do. You know how many of these fucking superheroes there are? The shit they can do,
and we're gonna get them all in one movie, and then we have to come. It's like it can't just be like some guy. You know what I mean? Like,
come on, Alex.
He has a gun. He has a gun. Like,
all the Avengers fight Jerry.
Jerry with a gun.
If you're not a fan of Thanos, give me else something for Doctor Strange and Iron Man and Spider-Man to do for 90 minutes, all right?
Right.
I mean, I think that's what's interesting about one of the things that's really interesting about this movie is that
that's a good one.
The strength of the movie is these are people you've seen in other movies, and now they're in the same movie, which is a magic trick. It's mind-blowing. The strength of having this many famous people that all had the same month available is fascinating. That's its biggest strength. And it's also, it makes the plot suck hard. It's an impossible thing they set for themselves. And also, it's so many famous people and so many characters. I'm shocked that somebody could maintain the energy to the point where they introduce another 1,000 characters, because it's just so exhausting to see another character introduced in the same way and go through the same. When Ant-Man shows up, I was so annoyed, and he's one of the only good ones. And to be like, because he's Paul Rudd, super charming, and he can magic school bus inside you anytime he wants. fucking cool power. That's really interesting. He can come in and tickle your insides. I like that. But to have him show up and be like, we already had 32 guys. Like, this is a cape on a cape. This whole movie is just a cape on 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 a cape.
Yeah.
That's the game.
It's Russian cape.
This is the most like I one of my favorite Marcus and McFreely quotes. I forget which one of them said it, but the two writers of this movie, they were asked once about like, the kind of like tacky scene at the end when all the women who have never spoken to each other in any of the movies come together and get a big
there's like
rah,
so just to be clear,
moment.
so during the for people so there's 1,000 superheroes, and then they get joined by another 1,000 superheroes, and they're in a war against just some aliens, but they're doing it instead of like shooting with alien, they're doing it like medieval style where they just line up and run at each other, and they're doing that big war. And then at one point, the 6 women out of 2,000 characters, and that them have important roles in this movie, they gather together for a brief photo op. That's what happens. In the middle of the war, they stop to be like, man, look at how there are 6 of us. We're hanging out together. And then they disperse. And that's the whole thing.
The best like justification for that was one of the writers got called out on like how that's like fan service and like, kind of like indulgent, and he sort of said like, I mean, yeah, that's true, but like, what movie do you think we're making here? Like, that's the entire entire thing is that, right?
Yeah, that's a weird criticism to say minute 85 is fan service.
Yeah, also it's not fan service if some of the fans hate it. So
right, that's true. Yeah,
that's true. It's divisive fan service.
But I mean, I one of my favorite things about people, especially people like you, Alex, who like really hates Marvel, just hated it from the beginning. It's just so funny that like to imagine you 8 phases from now when the MCU is still going strong and making movies, the way you're going to be having these same exact conversations about different characters 10 years from now.
I mean, I will never watch. I'm definitely done watching these. There's no way I'm going to get dragged into
it. Are you?
Oh, Alex, don't say that now.
Don't say that.
Look, I mean, I'm only watching them under duress. So it turns out, by the way, I told you I'd seen this movie before, and I have not. I've seen 2 other Avengers movies. There's more Avengers than movies that I thought. Before. This was all new to me. And so the thing you guys are talking about having something for them to do and somebody to fight against is a fair problem. They're all too powerful. This whole team is OP, so you have to get a ridiculously overpowered enemy. But then this movie is like, oh man, but the enemy that we wrote is too good. Now there's time travel. We can erase all consequences of previous movies. Like, they were already overpowered, and then they discover the power to change the timeline.
I mean, they don't change the timeline.
They bring back 4 billion people who had died.
Well, but they're not. They're bringing them back to the present, not.
Yeah, they don't like undo the past, right?
Yeah,
that's not what they're doing.
Actually,
right?
they bring back the whole universe.
Like, that's a thing that makes sense to you, and I know that it doesn't. That's not a thing.
It does. It does make sense.
I work at a movie theater, and like I have nephews and I have nieces. Do you know how easy it is for them to like completely understand all the logistics of the MCU and like just to go with it?
There's nothing to understand here. They're just saying nonsense and skipping it. Just like they were like, oh, the way it works. When they describe how time travel works, they're like, oh, it's quantum mechanics and an inverted Mobius strip and a watch. And then you're like, okay, great. And then you just buy it. That's the same thing they're saying with this. They're just like, oh, the way the time travel works is it didn't change the past.
Okay,
that doesn't mean anything. That's not
what your misunderstanding is
Yeah.
you're associating them, and they're actually not. They don't have anything to do with each other. That's the thing. The people coming back and the time travel, they're not directly connected. That's just how they got the stones so that they could bring people back.
It's also a fun victory lap after 20-something movies. Let's go back through all the movies for the fun.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I understand.
No, let me ask you this. Would you have preferred all those characters just stay dead? Because if that's what you want to argue, I want to switch sides.
But it's just like when they killed Superman in a movie, and you're like, oh, I wonder if Superman's going to stay dead. In the next movie, it's like, oh, Superman's not dead. It's like, you can't fool me with they killed half the Earth. If you're don't do that trick just to be like, haha, it was a trick. I knew it was a trick.
No, it's not a trick. It's the story, buddy. They're not trying to trick you. It's not like a fucking we got one over on you. It's the story they're telling after 20-something movies that end.
Yeah.
No, you have to. Okay, if you're gonna like just jump in here and be like, I can't believe we're like really defending the MC here.
Yeah, I know this sucks.
But they built 20-something movies
hate on the MCU
with a very very specific formula that happens. And
Yes.
if there is a trick, right, what they do is they build all these movies with a very specific formula, especially the first movie, right? And then their big trick is that their second to last movie of what this all has been building to is the inverse. And it's really like Infinity War, if you look at it, how it's structured. It's like, what if Thanos got his MCU origin movie essentially, and he's the good guy and he wins? And the last one ends with the bad guy essentially winning and the good guys losing for the first time in 20 something movies, right? They built, you can say like you didn't like it, but you can't say they didn't earn it or they didn't build to this or they didn't
Well,
like pull this
we're allowed
off
to
in a
buy
way
all
that
of
works.
Hollywood and cancel all things that are not made by them. So it's not like they like earned it.
Okay, Alex.
I mean,
they
how
got
about
22
this?
movies because they own all of movies, and so they
Well,
get to make the movie
That's
they
an
wanted.
impressive takeover at the very least.
That is
No,
impressive,
no.
yeah.
I'm with Alex now. That sucks. That part totally sucks.
that's not, again, I don't think that's like the MCU's fault. There's still plenty of small movies getting made. It would be nice if there was more. It'd be nice if major companies made Disney, would make more smaller films, but like that really
Or
has
if
nothing
Disney
to
wasn't
do with
allowed to
who was
consolidate
there,
the power of all movie studios so that they can control all of them and there's no actual competition.
It actually would be pretty cool if Disney had to break apart because
it would be cool if there were two
ridiculous.
different people in charge of Hollywood instead of just one.
Yeah, I agree with that. They should totally break Disney apart.
All right, so Alex, nothing you're saying is wrong, but I feel like this is all still a fairly cold take, I guess. So I'm kind of curious, like,
I just had to watch it last night. Like, how
are
we supposed to have a hotter take
like,
than that?
No, because it's not a hot take because other people have said this, right? Like, so I'm just saying,
because, and I'm not reading those blogs.
But I'm just saying, like, if a movie with everyone in it, if you're saying, and then it goes on for 3 hours, you're like, there's too many people in it and it's too long.
Yeah.
Like, dig deeper, man. Like, find a new reason to hate it. I believe in you. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the fact that it is a thing that you wanted to watch proves that this take is still important. This movie is too long and there are too many people in it, and we shouldn't keep giving it a pass just because they bought all of Hollywood and made it possible.
Listen, Alex, did you watch the whole thing? Did you watch it?
I did. And
come on, you
will
probably
say,
didn't need to do
at
that.
1x speed,
real.
And I did cook dinner, but I did not do other work while I was watching it. I was actually mostly watching it.
But yeah, I mean, I guess my problem is like, there are bad, like at the MCU, you're like making it sound like, again, I'm not trying to defend. I'm not a huge fan. I said last week or the week before, right? To me, the thing with the MCU is they're like that student in class that the teacher is upset at 'cause they know they could do better, but they constantly just do B minus work.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel about the MCU. Like they go from C minus to like B plus sometimes, right? And those B pluses are pretty fucking good. But you just know, like you could be knocking it out. You could be doing A plus pluses every time if you wanted to, right?
Right.
But like you're making it sound like this is like the MCU is like as bad as like the DC's multi.
Right, DC is like an F
what
student
Sony
that is like
did with
doing F work,
Spider-Man,
I think.
Yeah.
or like how far the monster universe, the dark universe made it, right? Like there's a reason why.
Which again, if we were allowed to write the dark universe for Universal Monsters, it would be very good
right now.
It would
If
be
we were
very
making
good.
the dark universe, a bunch of nerds on a podcast somewhere else right now would be talking shit about us.
And at the same time, Disney would have bought Universal by now, and so we would be part of the Disney family and wouldn't be allowed to talk about it anymore.
But yeah, I do think that like these movies do work as a thing, and it's like if they're not for you, that's like that's fine. I get it. Some of them are for me, but like
it's not for me. Then all right,
like
you found it. It's not for me. We did it. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I think what's strange about
this is the thing. This is like this is why I think the sports metaphor. Like maybe I made the game sound fun, but the metaphor I think is a good one, because if you're like, this thing is not for me, and then someone was like, here is the most of that thing all at once with only the parts that aren't for you, and we're going to skip the parts that are actually fun. That's what this is. This is the most not for me you could ever make a thing. Yeah. And I feel the way, like our friend of the show, Katie Wynn, had this great joke about watching sports. The person doesn't care for sports, where it's like you feel like a sociopath for a second because it's like everyone around you is feeling emotion and you feel nothing.
Right.
And that's how I feel like if I was in that room with those people cheering, I'd be like, I don't know if we're the same species. I just don't understand why this feels like something
Alex.
to you guys.
Yeah.
I don't, and
That's
I love
so
the nerds. I
harsh.
love the
Whoa.
nerds,
That's
and I want them
so-
to have a happy time. But I would just be so confused. Why
We're
does this
not the
work
same
for you? I
species.
feel
We're not the
nothing.
species.
You
We're
like
not
a
the same
movie I don't
species,
like.
you fucking
I challenge
bro.
the idea that we are all human beings. I appoint myself Alex Falcone, fascist leader of this new world.
No, he's an
definitely
alien,
not.
I think.
No,
Alex,
I'm
you're an
the
alien, right?
outsider in this
Yeah.
story, you guys. I know it's fun to hate. I'm like, good for you. I'm glad you're happy. I feel nothing, and I'm confused, and I don't understand why this is fun because it doesn't. If I feel nothing, this is the most nothing. Watching that scene with 1,000 people that you say they cheered about, which is just. We're joking about how many people from Hollywood are in it. No one's in it. It's just a billion pixel image of just everything.
They're standing in the front of the green
You can say
screen.
that
But
about
there's so many
literally
of them.
every movie
No,
and
but it's
artwork
like
ever made, though,
but it's
right? Like I don't.
No. This is like they set a computer to randomly generate characters and then just populated the biggest possible image of just randomly generated characters. None of it. There's just like I can't possibly feel empathy for
Alex,
10,000 characters that they just made up.
I get it, buddy. Do you ever feel like, like you're looking at the universe and like you see a thing that no one else gets it, right? And you're like, you know what? If only I had the control, the power. If only I had maybe, I don't know, some special gems and a cool
Not
glove
even clear on
on
what bit you're doing, but I can tell from your tone. I don't agree with it.
believe I could set things right. If only with a snap of my fingers, I could all fix this. I, Alex Falcone, alone
Alex
can write this.
I think the problem Thanos had was that he picked normal people when he should have just snapped his fingers, and all of the characters that we'd met actually had to disappear, but the regular people got to stay. Just get rid of the supers, man.
I wish I could snap, and just eliminate all these movies.
And look, if you don't want me to empathize with Thanos, don't show me an invincible space monster walking around picking fruit in perfect cottagecore. His thing when they show up and find him is the Instagram ideal for what a great life would be.
Yo, that scene is buck wild. That scene is really weird because they do show up, and yes, he did do this thing. But let's say you didn't watch the last movie, you just watch the superheroes show up.
Yeah,
and then they just like kill a guy that you don't know, and he looks like Grimace.
While he's lighting a fire to make himself a stew in his perfect little cabin in the woods.
It's a great like understanding, right? Now we know that if you start at the last Avengers movie ever, you're on Team Thanos, and that's good to know.
That is kind of cool, actually.
It's a good experiment. It's worth it.
I'm glad you said it's the last one ever. That actually does make me feel a lot better.
Oh, it's never going to be
the
this
next one.
important
There's
again.
2 more Avenger movies coming out.
I want to throw something out there because we've been talking as if the MCU will continue on forever at its level of relevancy. Right. This is their peak. They will never ever get to this height again. There's no way.
I might actually disagree with that, especially when you look at like. I think that like I do wonder. I was talking to a coworker of mine. How many? I mean, we should take a bet on how many phases we think the MCU will actually get through. Right? Like right now, we're in phase 4. Right. So from Iron Man to Endgame was phases 1 through 3. That was how they plan out their phases. When phase 4, they have to play phase 6 right now. Do we actually think they'll get to like 9? 12.
They might get to it. But my statement is that they will never ever get to this level of hype and payoff as Avengers Endgame. That they will be on diminishing returns, I feel like, into the future.
The only way to do that is essentially once they really get into X-Men. Because I think X-Men like has enough iconic characters that could build to something.
Oh yeah, I love the X-Men.
This iconic again. But they have to essentially introduce a whole cast. Yeah, I mean that's coming, right?
But the X-Men are their own Avengers team already. They're like, hey, we're
but some of them hang
out
together.
In the comics, they've always been in the same universe, right? But they didn't have the rights to them for a long time.
Right. Yeah, because
the Fox deal, you know.
Well, so so Anthony, you've talked before about this, about the magic trick that they pulled with the MCU, where they took all of these C-level superheroes and made them into this thing that people all care about. And I do think the magic trick to then roll out D-level superheroes and the X-Men at the same time is going to be a harder trick to pull off, because when they did it the first time, there were not a lot of superhero movies.
Right.
There were like 6, and that was it. And this was like, we're starting a whole new thing. So I think they're starting in a world where everyone who's watching these movies has already watched 22 movies. They've seen all of these tricks before. So I think it'll be less magical to put together the next list. It'll be harder.
That's always been the question about the MCU. It's like, when does the MCU hit what happened to comics in the 90s, right? Comic, like when the comic boom and like the bubble burst on that, it got to the point when it was everything became super serialized, and all of a sudden it became, if you wanted to get in the comics, you didn't even know where to start, or you had to watch all this, read all this previous stuff before, and that imploded the comic book industry in the 90s. Right. When does the MCU hit that point that if you want to get into it, it's too much backstory?
I'm arguing that it's happening right now. How many Disney Plus TV shows are there that you need to watch in order to keep up with so you can watch the movie?
I feel like they're definitely
when it's
killing this golden goose. I think they've got to.
I mean, I haven't missed anything yet. Like, I am still up to date on stuff, but I am still curious.
Same here.
Yeah.
I am not.
I still watch all of them. I saw the Thor and Doctor Strange this year. I've watched Miss Marvel, which I really like, and even the shows I didn't like.
So can I ask you a stupid question? This is a dumber question than I've said before, but okay. So I enjoyed some TV shows of superheroes when I was a kid. I watched I loved Batman Beyond for a while, and I must have watched.
Batman's great. Yeah,
I love TMNT. I must have watched 1,000 episodes of each of those, and each episode of those was like superheroes fighting a thing and winning, and that's it. And then that's over, and then they do another one.
Yeah,
and I feel like a lot of the Batman movies were just like Batman fights a villain and it's over. Why do these Marvel movies have to be at the level of aliens came, killed everybody on Earth, time travel, save all of it? Why Superman has to die at the end? Why can't you just make
it's still an inflation?
Alex, you're literally talking about the regular MCU. That's what
they have to kill some of these. Why aren't there 42 Iron Man movies where Iron Man faces a new Iron Man villain or an old Iron Man villain in a new way? Like a lot of the villains in Batman Beyond just stuck around for years.
There's 3 of those. There are multiple of those movies. You're literally talking about the rest of the MCU. Those monster of the week movies.
Why did you have to have all of them come to this level of a climax that they do come to, and then kill off that superhero? Why can't? Is it just that Robert Downey Jr. is too expensive, so you can only do 4 movies and he dies?
Definitely.
Why can't he did like making each of these characters side movies? Why do you have to have a whole new crop of superheroes?
But the thing is, he was in all those movies. He was been in a bunch of movies in just small roles, right? Like they do these kind of single one-off movies every once in a while.
I'm aware that they do them, but why are they so short? Why are those series so short before they join a big group, fight an impossible villain, and then die?
I mean,
why do they burn out so brightly?
Life.
Yeah,
it was 15 years between the beginning of that and the end of that, right? He had a good run. He can only do it for so long, right? And they want to make way for the next thing. Again, you're I really think Endgame is not a great example of what the MCU actually is, right? This is an outlier. This is the big payoff for it.
Yeah,
most of the MCU stuff is actually just fairly small little stories.
I do understand that.
I want to point
why there aren't 5 Iron Man movies.
I want to point something out about that.
And then 5 Avengers.
Alex, I want to point something out about that, because one of the strategies that they employ with the MCU is they are cannibalizing all of this great work that all these different writers have done over the course of 50 or 60
years. They're picking a handful of comics.
They're picking a handful of comics. They're stealing. They don't even always steal the whole story. They'll steal a moment or a scene.
Do you know what you get if one of your comic runs directly influence one of the movies? Like the guy who created
I've always wanted to know. What do you get? Anything?
You
get anything?
This is a very, very, very common thing. What they do, if let's say the guy who created American Chavez, who's using the Doctor Strange that just came out, right?
Right.
The creator of him and his co-creator did that whole entire run on the character 10 years ago or whatever. And what they got was a $5,000 check and 2 tickets to the premiere, baby.
So messed up.
And that is what they give you for every writer. The writer who did the people who worked on the original Civil War comics, or the character who, all these writers who have gotten their work cannibalized. What Disney does, they send you a $5,000 check and 2 tickets to the premiere of that specific movie.
Like if you could break it down, like, because here's the thing. Here's Alex why they don't do what you're talking about. They are lighting like hundreds of comic books on fire every time they make an MCU movie. Like they're literally destroy. So they can't do that because they're going. If they do it that way, they're going to run out of stories to rip off that have already been written. Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have years more of these to go, right? Like I said, we haven't even gotten to like X-Men in there or Fantastic Four, right?
And all the X-Men stuff has already been burned up on all these other movies. So they're literally just going to be coming back around for a second pass. It's going to be very confusing. I don't think that X-Men stuff is going to work. I'm going to say that right now.
Daredevil's one of my favorite comic book characters, and he's coming back in a big way. I'm really excited for Mahershala Ali's Blade. I love that actor. I think he's going to do a great Blade.
Cool. Okay.
I'm very.
All right, we have so much work we have to do on the back end of the show that I want to start wrapping this up. I want to. Yeah, Ez, go ahead.
I'm just curious.
Final thought.
I mean, I did not think you were going to like this. This has a lot of, I think, emotional moments that hit for me really well. Both, especially the first time, but also, on the subsequent viewings as well. But I think the thing I'd be kind of curious is, I wonder, Alex, if you actually would dig any of the like the Disney Plus TV things, like for example, Hawkeye, for example, is like very much influenced by like the Matt Fraction.
Is that the Matt Fraction? Yeah. I like the Matt Fraction Hawkeye series. I read that. I interviewed him on a show that Anthony and I used to do. He was a great dude, and I enjoyed that series. I thought it was really fun. Because there was a dog in it.
Yeah, right. So it's stuff like that where it's like, if you like the smaller scale stuff, I wonder if that would have done it for you or not.
Yeah, I think I would enjoy a series much more than I enjoy the movies for a bunch of these characters. Like, I want to hang out with you and like understand your nuances. And I love Matt Fraction's idea for that. That was like, what's your life like in the Avengers when you're not in the Avengers? The hours of the day you're not avenging. Yeah. Super cool idea. And like, he has an entire book in that series that's just like trying to get the cable fixed, and it rules. It's like a really charming comic book. And I like that a lot. And I like a lot of Matt's writing. Like, he's the most I've enjoyed other comic books too, with stuff that he's written.
I don't know how involved he was, but he was like a credited producer on Hawkeye. That might have just been like,
he got $5,000 and 2 tickets.
Yeah, right. You can come see it on Disney Plus.
Okay, so that's a fair thing. And I could definitely imagine a world where I'm doing that. At this point, the movies have ruined the idea of watching a superhero series at home. I'm like, this is my time off. I'm not doing a Read and Weep show right now.
Superhero time.
I'm not going to watch it, but I could be open to it. Okay. I do want to do 2 really quick Alexis to close this out, which are my micro compliments that I've introduced while you guys were away. Sorry, Ez and Hunter. 2 quick micro. Yeah, Alexis. It's like my name, but it's like an awards name.
I get it.
I like it. Alexis.
Two micro compliments that I have. My 2 things that really I did enjoy. One is that when Ant-Man gets big, for reasons I don't understand, but he's so big he punches a spaceship in the face. I liked that. And then the other one was when earlier on, Thanos is watching a video of himself in the future making an extremely dumb speech, like just the most overwrought, insane speech where he's like, I thought that eliminating half of life would make the other half thrive, which is like not a logical thought that anybody ever had. But he's watching himself be like the most boring dipshit supervillain, and he sees the video and he smiles a bit. He just it makes him smile seeing himself be an idiot in the future, and that was the best moment of him as a character. It was just
really good.
Yeah, listen to this guy killing it. It was a very like Michael Scott if he was an alien that could kill the whole Earth moment. Wherever it's clear to everyone else, this guy's the worst, and he's like, get it, Thanos. Good job.
Michael Scott's Thanos is pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanos.
We do have to move on.
The execution of Thanos and like as a big CG, actually iconic villain that everyone actually knows, like he's the best use of that in like movies so far, right? Like he is so iconic and everyone knows Thanos. It's like it's that amazing, like talk about like C and D level heroes they built this on. They built this on the back of the dumbest of their villains, right? The big dumb Grimace. And the fact that they made him work again. This doesn't work.
Impressive.
I know you don't like this, but for me, just from like a pure like the fact that they were able to get this to work so much. I've talked a lot about in the last recent weeks about how much my mom loves Rocket Raccoon and Groot. 2 things I thought she would never know about, right? Like,
the record, the first of those movies I actually thought was pretty charming. I liked the first one, not the second one, but the first one was.
You don't
one
like
of the few
second
Marvel
Guardians
movies
movie?
No, I thought the second Guardians movie was kind
I
of dumb,
love
but the first one was
second
pretty.
Guardians
pretty
movie
fun.
has like this thing none of the Marvel movies have, which is that it's about something, and none of the other ones are about anything.
Yeah, it's all right. It has the thing. It's all right. The characters by that point have like, I feel like they became the first movie. They like wrote like the first Guardians movie. They wrote them like characters that they needed to earn your caring about them. And the second movie was like, you own these toys, and then just like forgot to do, I thought, like the interesting character work that they had done in the other one. I thought it got boring and super. Also, the villains are too big in the second one. It's too silly.
Give me some small villains, guys.
Give me like
a little Jerry with a gun.
All right. Anyway, we have to move on. We do have to move on. We have so much work we got to do. So let's get into the master list. Let's rank this movie from 1 to 25. We watched 25 movies so far this year for this season. Where does Avengers Endgame fall? Wow. Anthony, what portion of the list would you like read aloud?
Can you give me
Yeah, I'm gonna for reference, it's gonna be here in the chat, but everyone should definitely.
Oh yeah, I love it as a block of text. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Unformatted long block of text with 25 movies in order.
You know what? I think this needs to, kind of represent. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I was trying to make a joke about how it's like the third biggest movie of all time. So, but by that measure, it should be pretty high on the list because of that. But I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's actually up there. I don't think this is as good as something like Dead Ringers or Out of Sight or Michael Clayton. Yeah. I do think it's better than Apollo 13 by quite a bit.
I know you're just saying that to be a dick, and that's fine. I accept that about you.
No, I genuinely do actually like this movie more than Apollo 13. I would say that about almost everything on this list.
That's an insane thing to say.
But hey, Apollo 13 is a good movie. You know what? This is also a pretty good movie.
Anthony, I don't know. It's not really fair that we always make you go first, but you do have, I feel like your list is the most, like you put the most emotion into picking where to put it. So I'm glad that we're doing it. So where do you want this to land?
I was just trying to buy time. I don't actually know.
I know where I want to put
Hunter,
it.
Where do you put it? 1 through 25, Hunter.
I think so. Okay, a couple things. So, we got the glove with the Infinity Stones in it. That's pretty good, but it's not as good as PJ's ring gag.
Oh, it's good.
True, but it is similar. True. We got rings.
I feel like Thanos knows how hard it is to be a god, but I think Hard to Be a God 1989 went harder.
Yeah.
A girl with character. Give me girls with characters. Only about 6. And then also this reminded me very much of the Transformers the movie.
It is a lot like the Transformers the movie.
And you know what? If you want me to pick a media franchise that I like more, the Transformers is dumber, and I'm dumb. So I'm going to rank this number 25, the worst movie of all time.
Of season 5.
It sucks, but I do like it and understand why people like it. I actually love it, but it is
it's the worst.
Dumb. It is horrible.
That is the most incomprehensible reasoning, but I think a reasonable place you ended up.
Here's what I think about Avengers Endgame. Here's the difference between me and Alex's position on this. Alex is just a hater on it, and that's fine. Yeah. I fear it. It scares me.
Here's what's okay. Look, I understand. I'm the heel of this podcast. I've done most of the work producing.
No, you're the
Thanos.
Years. It's okay.
However,
no, go ahead and say most people don't like the biggest media property in the world.
But do you see what I have to deal with? Which is Hunter getting to say, I feel the same way Alex does, but for better reasons. Like, even when we agree, I'm still an idiot for my reasoning, and he's got cool adult reasoning for why it's bad.
He never said that. He said you're a hater, which we can all agree. Alex, you're a fucking hater.
Alex, you're a hater. It doesn't make you an idiot to be a hater. I love a good hate. I love to sit down on the toilet and have a good hate. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Oh. Okay. So I'm just gonna. I'll save you some trouble. I'll save everybody some time since Hunter got a big speech here. This is easily number 25 on the list of the best movies of all time of season 5. It would be. I think it's basically the same as the Transformers the movie, except that the Transformers the movie is like 82 minutes, and this is an unforgivable length of movie.
And on triple speed, Transformers the movie is like 20 minutes. It's awesome.
This is so much too long. And there are scenes where they like really like 2.5 hours in where they're like, let's really let this Chris Pratt gag breathe. Anyway, Ezra, where do you rank it?
Okay, so I could absolutely make a case for why it is above Apollo 13. because that's a real fun place to put it.
Yeah.
But I think more.
No
more
one doubts
likely,
your talent. You could make up a bullshit reason why any movie is above Apollo 13. I've seen it done.
Yeah,
we have no issue with that.
Because there's space, you get more space, which is better.
Yeah,
theirs was real space, and this is just a cartoon. But sure.
Well, experts.
I mean, it was as much of a cartoon as Apollo 13 was, right? Like
they were in this. They were in actual zero gravity in Apollo 13.
Yeah,
they were in actual big green rooms with this.
Also,
It's the same shit,
actual
Alex.
green rooms, Alex.
It's the same
not the
shit.
same
What are
shit.
you talking
Also,
about?
in this movie, they had people who fought Nazis instead of just hired them. So
That's true.
that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
But no, I think the fair place actually, like, if I'm looking at this stuff, I can't really, in good conscience, put it above Out of Sight. So I think it's going to be at number, like, right below Out of Sight, between Out of Sight and Dead Ringers is where I'm putting.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for paying some respect to. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of In the Cut.
Yeah, you went in the
I
car.
don't care about Out of Sight at all.
Anthony, final vote. Where do you rank it?
All right, I'm gonna put it after Princess Diaries, before The Life Aquatic.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm gonna have this as my new 18. I
Again,
just feel like that's a
the
good
thing
spot.
no one
for it.
actually thinks this is a really good movie, but I take the most
give
shit
a lot
for
of
feeling
really
that way.
good
No,
other
they-
movies. This is legitimately a good movie. I
Yeah.
think everything at the Cable Guy up is a pretty good movie on this list. All right, I don't think any of those. Some of these things like Taking a Felon 1, 2, 3, Dead Ringers, In the Cut, things really low, I think are fucking great movies.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good list of movies. And I think Endgame is where it goes. It's a pretty good movie. And it's a very, very impressive production.
In the end, the
20
final result of averaging these out
25.
puts Avengers Endgame 2019 at movie number 21, below Hard to Be a God, and just above PJ, the movie we watched.
No!
because
Wait,
we
hold on.
had to get somewhere.
If it's 20.25, does that mean that it goes to 20 though?
So it is
Right, 13 plus 25 plus 25 plus 18.
Well, so if we did that, then it's 20.25. So we could.
So I think it goes
above Hard to
Oh,
Be
yeah,
God,
we were
but we're
talking
not
about
going to
rounding-
because it's worse than Hard to Be a God. Specifically, Hunter said that. So
This
Right, I
is
think-
the good shit. This is someone out there's good shit. This is like when someone who listens to this podcast every week until we start getting to the numbers and they put their hand
They're
to
like,
the ear and they go,
"Yes, this is it. This is someone's
shit."
ASMR.
all right, we
Yeah,
have so
I
much.
think
We
if
have,
it-
we gotta,
Alex, say those numbers.
we got to get
20.
moving. Ez, you have two you have three responsibilities now on the show. First,
More
what is the
numbers.
official score going into this?
Okay, going into this. Where's my pins? Where are my pins? Where are my pins? I think. Okay, yeah. In second place, doing really good is a good boy, Ezra with 9. Also in second place, a good boy as well, Hunter with 9.
Yeah.
Then tied for first is Anthony and Alex, both with 11. So
Oof.
Oof.
What is your now? You have just received 5 big points for making us watch Avengers Endgame, which is a perverse incentive. What are you going to do with those points?
So Alex, I said to myself that if you had rated this anything above last, I would have given you all my points.
Whoa.
Well, fortunately, I am more moral than I am high scoring.
Yeah.
This is true. I'm considering, would it feel bad to have that, to know there's an Avenger point in your score? Would that taint it all for you as well?
Well, here's the thing, Ezra. I gotta remember, like, do you want to share points with someone who might not be the same species as you? Not to be a speciesist here.
No, I don't have a
This
problem
is
with
someone
it,
who
but,
looked at you and said, "I don't think we're the same thing."
No, he was not in the movie theater cheering on opening night.
I was maybe
I'm sure
there
he was.
the day after.
Yeah, he
I
was
definitely.
there. We were all there, Alex.
Yeah,
when
we
he
were
said
all
that,
there.
he said that about all of us.
All right.
weren't.
Look, I know
I
we're
said that
there,
about
and
my
I cheered.
wife. She was there with me.
She wasn't cheering.
Yo, yeah, she was.
Oh,
Maybe
believe
not. She
Ez.
might have
Okay,
let out a
okay.
hoot.
Sign these points.
Okay, Hunter, you get 2 points, buddy. Good job.
Yeah.
I think that the bond is stronger than ever.
Are you
Yeah.
keeping the other 3?
I'm keeping the last 3.
Wow. Okay, so that's a
Hell
fascinating
yeah.
thing. What does that do to our score? Mind you,
ma-
this is month 8 out of 12, so we're 3/4
So
of the way
it's
through
it's
this
a
year.
tight one, guys. In second place, Hunter 11, Alex 11, Anthony 11, and sole possession of first place currently is Ezra with 12.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Pulls into the lead. I hope you're proud of yourself, Hunter. Ezra, your third item of business and your final order of business right now. What is your upcoming movie? What are you picking next? What is your next point scoring movie?
What I've heard is a classic that I've not seen, the 1987 Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh,
awesome.
So I've been watching a lot of Only Murders in the Building, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
So would love to see some earlier Steve Martin.
Have you never seen this before?
No, never.
This movie is great. This is one of my favorite John Hughes. One of the few really, really good Thanksgiving movies. There's a lot of good Christmas movies, not a lot of good Thanksgiving movies.
I would say keep your expectations in check from an 80s comedy. It might be...
No, this is far as 80s comedies go. This one's actually not too bad. I mean, it's no like...
I haven't seen it since I was a child, but
I haven't seen it since I was a kid either. I feel the same way.
Mostly I remember homophobic jokes. That's the thing that stuck with me the most of this.
Wait, what did?
The homophobia.
Oh, the cuddling in bed thing?
Yeah, that's the thing. The scene that I remember is like, ew,
yeah, but
a
no,
boy
this movie for the most part is not.
Oh, I also remember there was like a tuba. Anyway, great, cool choice, and I like your reasoning. And maybe we can use it as an excuse to talk more about Steve Martin and Only Murders, which I think is fun. And also part of this really weird thing that's happening in streaming that not enough people are talking about, I don't think, which is that Hulu is making itself indispensable, and that's thought I would never say that. Hulu has been releasing a series of shows I want to watch, and I just don't understand. And it's also Disney, which is annoying that they're like, hey, this is our secret. This is our other streaming service where you're allowed to swear. But anyway, yeah, I mean, between that and The Bear and the Mormon one was really fun. Not fun, but was really interesting. They got Holy Moly. Anyway, good stuff over on Hulu. Okay, but movie picked. Last thing we need to do is figure out what we're going to watch next week, and we have reached the end of cycle 6. Which means it's time to redraw for order. So
please,
I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick a roll now. There are four of us who could be first. Here's what I'm. As always, I'm hoping I don't get first because I do not want to pick a movie. It's not. I did some work on some research, but I don't want to have to. I mean, I have a couple of okay choices, but I'm not.
Are we picking a new movie today?
Let's do it. So going first. Also, I should say, out of 6 cycles, Anthony has picked first 4 times. Hunter and Ez have each picked first once, and I haven't. And Hunter has been last 4 times.
Yep.
So fascinating how these odds have worked out. Okay, here we go. The first pick for next week is Ezra.
No.
God damn it. Ezra probably planned this.
What?
Just probably planned something so that this could happen.
What?
Ooh, if I'm second, I can make a play. Please
Playing
give me
second.
Please give me second.
Is Anthony.
God, just
well, maybe
I'm never
going to
get there. I'm never
you're not last. Oh, you are last.
Hey.
Wait, I'm.
Oh my God!
I'm third. Hunter's last again. Wow, this. Look, maybe we need a better system for this.
It's killing me.
So, guys, you know, I thought it'd be really cool to watch.
Stop it.
Which has Kevin Bacon in it. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I guess reset.
God.
No, come on, come on, no. No, you're not getting 2 scores in a row. I don't care if we have to make up a rule right now.
Do you have a card?
What, to Hunter?
Yeah, Hunter, do you have a card?
I don't. Let me look at my cards. I haven't seen them in so long. I need a card that just makes it so that I go right now.
If there was a card where you could take over, you could change the order. Actually, I think it's probably too late to change the order because he's already picked.
That's true.
Well, I have a code.
This is some dirty stuff right here. I've been working so hard. I've been playing this game like a good boy. Where are my cards? Where are they at?
They're in the power card document I sent. I think this is too late now. I think you've done it, Ezra. I think Ezra has just run away with this game in the 3rd quarter.
Wait, can I change my pick?
No.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Wait, no, not just no.
New rule. You can change your pick. Yeah.
You're gonna let him change.
That wasn't rules. That wasn't
I'd
final.
rather Ezra win than him change his pick because he feels like it was too strong.
Listen.
Ezra has to nerf himself.
Because
it's not a fun game if Ezra's always like feeling bad for us.
Yeah.
No,
well, here's the thing. Ezra's realizing that if Ezra pulls away right now, that it's too much space to try and survive because we will do whatever it takes to make someone else win besides Ezra. I will make someone else.
You're not picking someone who's in common with Avengers. You're picking a Kevin Bacon reset.
That's right. You can do after anyone scores.
Oh,
You can reset to Kevin Bacon.
Said you can't pick a Kevin Bacon movie.
Yeah, we said you can't make your actual movie a Kevin Bacon movie.
Oh, really? You can't make your actual movie a Kevin Bacon.
That.
That's a rules violation. We're gonna have to take away at least 10 points for that. I'm thinking at least.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to do this.
That's a blatant rules violation. Like blatant. Like against the spirit of the game, against the spirit of the podcast. I mean, that's blatant. I mean, it's fairly cut and dry here.
Well, so with that minus 10 points, where does that leave the score?
I don't know. But yeah, it can't be a Kevin Bacon movie.
Yeah, we said you can't pick a Kevin Bacon movie. It's too easy.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
because I think we said.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, we
said we can't move through Bacons. We never said we
couldn't say that. We can't move through Bacons. We can't go backwards, and you can't pick a. Yeah, you can't. We said you can't pick a Kevin Bacon movie for resets.
We totally said that, listeners.
Am I still here?
Well, as in
sorry for your not resets. Your new pick.
So I think you could not pick a. We said we couldn't pick a I couldn't know basically that I was going to be be able to do it. No. Anthony,
yeah, that's true. We did not say you had to pick a new order before, but we didn't actually settle on if you knew you were next because we were still in the middle of a cycle and somebody else picked a movie. Could you pick your new movie one that then you're next and you set yourself up for and you score double? We did not.
Right, and then you just pick one next.
Come down on that, but that one seemed like it was clearly a douchey move, but not an illegal one.
I'll say this, Ezra: if you score right now, if you score next episode, I will make Alex. I will make sure Alex wins this game. I will do everything within my power to make Alex.
So this is a tricky one,
Nobody
guys.
wants that.
Nobody wants that.
So here's the tough situation we're in right now. I don't know how to do this, right? Because I know
that
you
pick a new movie, you also know you're next.
Yeah.
And if we say you have to pick a movie that you can't get to, that also feels unfair.
Yeah. Constitutional crisis, guys.
It was bound to happen at some point. This is what happens when you only write down 3 rules.
Yeah. Well, here, wait. Okay, so now I feel like I actually should look up my card because maybe we can kind of.
Tony has a card. Anthony has a card.
Oh,
wait, are you
Anthony's
frozen?
Trying to play a card. I see.
So he can suspend any one rule.
We can't hear you, Anthony. Okay, but we're getting chat.
Anthony's
frozen, but he's chatting in.
Okay, this is great.
Yeah.
Anthony is suspending any one rule. So I don't know.
So you're going to let Ezra have his movie?
I don't know what rule he's going to suspend.
Yeah, what rule are you suspending, Anthony? We're freaking out right now.
Please. I think you should use the suspending. Well, it makes sense if that's the one you use because we only have 3 rules, and we said before that your power might be too powerful. I think you get to use your card however you want, so I'm fine with that. But I do think, and you're just typing ... Now you're being a douche. Now you're intentionally screwing with us.
Anthony,
this is not good radio,
please.
But this is fun.
Please tell us.
What is happening? Do we postpone? Do we say constitutional crisis? We'll resolve this offline.
I think
and
resolve
tweet
this
about
off. Yeah,
because we're out of time. We gotta keep moving. We're never gonna find out.
Wow, Anthony, why are you doing this to us?
I mean, it's not his fault. His screen is frozen, unless he is just holding his pose very carefully and typing, which would be a good move. That'd be a good bit. Final thing, we're gonna find out right now. There's so much tension in the air.
Oh my god! Cut it with a knife.
All right, I'm gonna say we have 10 more seconds, and then we got to get out of here. So if he doesn't
resolve
resolve the constitutional crisis right now, then it's over. All right, that's it. We're gonna find out next week. We're gonna have to do this off air. We're gonna resolve this constitutional crisis off air. Figure out what happens, what rule we suspend, what rule we do, whether we redraw, whether Ezra picks a new movie, we redraw, or if we just let Ezra have the 5 points and we don't care about it.
I win make Alex,
and then we try to win make Alex, which would be weird. It is interesting. It does feel like right now, if I was handicapping this game, it does feel like Ezra's trying the hardest, and so I would not have predicted the beginning of this season for sure that Ezra was going to try the hardest to win. I thought it would be a chaos monkey for sure, but you are trying hard to win. You've played so many strategic moves, including this awful movie that we all had to sit through just because you knew it was a strategic pick here. And
it was
honestly,
also a
I'm
troll
surprised
pick.
Hunter is not trying harder to win. So, I mean, he's the one who
love to play the game.
I feel like could decide to win if he decided to, but isn't. It's a fascinating position. All right. We're going to solve this constitutional crisis off the air. I would love to have any input from you. Send us an email, podcast@read-weep.com, how we should resolve it.
If anyone can find tape of when we said no Kevin Bacon movies as your winning movie, I would love to hear that also.
Yeah,
I need that tape.
I am confident that is there, but I think we can go back and look for it. It's possible it's one of those things we said, what about this? And then didn't actually say it had to be a rule. But it's we agree it's definitely bad form. I mean, everybody agrees on that.
I'll say this, Ezra. Like, even if it's not a rule, I will do everything in my power to make sure that this does not happen.
Well, it was a good alliance.
We don't have that much power anymore.
Yeah,
do you see what you did, Hunter? By like you betrayed him once and it was great, and then you handed him the rest of the.
You're right.
Universe.
We can't trust him with this game. I am gonna have to win, Make Alex. Like right. I'm just. That's how
I would love your feedback on what we should do with this. Please send us an email, podcast@read-weep.com. How do we solve this? Also, I would be happy if you were to email us and make up some new rules for us so that we have more for Anthony to suspend. Also, maybe you guys just pick, and then Ezra's next. And he has to deal with a random pick that he has to move from, since the foreknowledge is the thing that really screws it up. Okay, we'll find out next week. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening and for sending us feedback. Sorry again about the streaming event that got canceled, but we will do it again sometime. We will stream us watching Avengers Endgame at some point. Not next week, maybe 2 weeks. We'll see. Everybody stay healthy so that we can do that. Thanks for being here, Ezra.
Yep.
Thanks for being here, Hunter.
Yeah, hey, thank you.
Thanks for being here in spirit, Anthony Lopez.
He wants us to say bye for him.
I think he did. What's interesting is because of the way this recording system works, maybe on the recording we'll hear him the whole time.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we couldn't hear him. We'll find out. Anyway, we'll talk to everybody next week. Goodbye.